Previously on X-Men.
An episode every week comes out because I just can't wait for the whole show to come out. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty sure you've seen episode 3 of X-Men 97. Thank you guys for returning to see me talk about episode 3. Now, let's get into the review. Another great episode for X-Men 97. I am loving this show so far. Especially some of the dark things that they did in this episode is something I really enjoyed a lot in the episode. I'll talk about more of that later, but starting off with the review of something that really confused me a little bit with this episode was the whole 2 Jean Grey situation.
Man's an imposter. That man is the imposter.
By the end of the episode, you will be able to understand it a little bit more better. So the episode continues off with that other Jean Grey coming to their front doorstep and saying that she needs the X-Men. Now later on, Beast does tests and he does find out that this is the real Jean Grey, and the one that we've been seeing this whole time throughout the show is not the real one. This gets everybody really confused, and this gets everyone a little bit hesitant about who Jean Grey really is. Even Cyclops begins to be like, listen, alright, I don't know who I got busy with, but this leads to Jean Grey getting very, very, very upset. And she's thinking that everybody that she was with this whole time was fake. Everybody doesn't believe her. All these members that she had with her, members of the X-Men, they just don't believe her. And eventually, this leads to Mr. Sinister coming in. And this is where the darkness kind of starts to happen, which I really enjoyed in this episode. Mr. Sinister comes in, and that Jean Grey was the clone that Mr. Sinister made. So he has full control of her. And he makes her into the Goblin Queen. Kind of starts her little evil side of the story that she has. Mr. Sinister goes ahead and starts making these creepy, I don't really know what to call them. He makes these monsters from some people's past to traumatize them. These little creatures that kind of supposed to haunt the X-Men, and this gets everybody scared. Especially the one that Roberto and Jubilee had to deal with when they're just watching a movie, and then freaking a little spider that's supposed to be his mom comes out. That part really creeped me out a little bit. I think Gambit just walking into Magneto and Rogue, which aren't really them, but just seeing them make out, which that was a little bit unsettling. I'm surprised at how far they kind of went. It's a little bit dark, especially for a show like this, but I feel like that's what Marvel needs to do more. It needs to be a little bit more darker. This leads to all the X-Men members just falling in a pit and then have to fighting all these creatures, but then one creature sticks out the most. And it's like a devilish looking Sentinel that's coming off. And I really like the design. It was a cool design. Like, come on. A devil looking Sentinel. I'd be scared if I saw that thing. They're all fighting it off. And of course, again, the fight scenes in this episode are amazing. It was really cool seeing them fight all these creatures. And I really enjoyed watching that. But then Jean Grey comes in to save the day. Her story starts to begin a lot more. After this, she's starting to gain her memories because she has no memory of what her other self did. She doesn't remember who she is. She doesn't remember who anybody is, but this leads to a wholesome scene. Wolverine and Jean Grey, they're just in a room together, and he's showing her how she really helped Wolverine. To a plan where some of the X-Men members are going to go to Mr. Sinister's place or whatever to get Nathan, the baby, they're gonna go get him because they know that he's in grave danger. Because apparently Mr. Sinister needs Nathan because I guess he's gonna be powerful. And they're gonna want to use him to, I don't know, whatever he's want to do, make power or something like that. Or make him, a sidekick or something, kind of like what Syndrome wanted to do. So they go ahead and now in this next scene, this leads to a scene where Mr. Sinister does these experiments with the baby. He puts him in some green ooze or something. He tests him, wants to see what he can do with him. I don't know what exactly he was doing, but he wants to make him into a weapon of some sort. Cyclops does have a good fight scene with Jean Grey, the other one, and it was really cool just seeing her, someone who is an X-Men, just kicking everyone's butts. One of the coolest moments I think in this episode was definitely how the other Jean Grey goes inside of her head, plays with her memories, but then she starts to see the memories that she missed out on, like her best friend dying, and this what made her powers come out. She sees how she became an X-Men. Professor X came to her doorstep asking for her. It was these cool things that we got to see in those memories that we haven't really seen yet. I really like seeing that. I think it was really cool for her reliving her memories again, and for us as the audience seeing Jean Grey's story again. Does help her snap out of it, loses control of what Mr. Sinister puts her in. Off to save Nathan, but by the time it was a bit too late. By the time he saved him, because he was infected with he was infected of whatever Mr. Sinister put in him. Into a final choice of where they have an option of where Bishop could go in the future to help Nathan get a cure, but it might be a while, and Cyclops is not like that because, well, he doesn't want to be abandoned like Cyclops was as a kid. He doesn't want his son living on a future, which I really liked seeing how care Cyclops really was for his son. It was a really good moment just seeing that. He doesn't do that, but, he knows like he doesn't have any choice. This is the order to only save his kid. Eventually does go on his watch and goes into the future with Nathan. We don't know how long it might be, but it was a pretty sad moment just seeing Nathan just watching Jean Grey. He doesn't really want to leave. He takes him to the future and to possibly find a cure for this, according to Beast. And the Jean Grey that was a clone of Mr. Sinister eventually wants to go off and live her own life. She even gives herself a new name. She's ready to leave. And the original Jean Grey is going to stay, which I don't know how that's going to work with the whole baby situation or the whole Cyclops situation. Like, who married her? Who was the one that was fighting with them all this time? It's still going to be a mystery, I'm assuming, for now, but it was a nice moment just seeing her leave off and wanting to start her own life, not being Jean Grey, being a new person. A question that I did have for the episode was what was Magneto and Rogue doing when the whole nightmarish fight was going on? I feel like that's going to come back later into the episode because it was a bit weird how Gambit was just left there and Rogue was doing something. That's definitely going to come back later on in the episode, maybe revealing something, I don't know. So it leaves off with Storm apparently being in Texas this whole time, and a guy walks up to her telling her that she can get her powers back. That was a great ending. Overall, this episode was amazing. The show continues to get better and better. I cannot wait for next Wednesday. Returning for my last episode of talking about this one. Thank you guys for returning. But what do you guys think? Do you guys like this episode? Do you not like it? What do you think they can improve on? Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this review I had, or this feels a little bit more of a breakdown, but it's a good review. Guys, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next review.